Welcome back to Have More Babies.
Great to be here.
Today we're tackling a topic I know is really top of mind for so many parents, both expecting and new ones.
Right. How to make breastfeeding work when you're also a working mother.
Exactly. It can feel, well, pretty daunting. We've gathered some really practical info, strategies, clear steps to hopefully make that journey a bit smoother.
Yeah, the idea is to pull out the key stuff, the actionable advice for juggling work and nursing.
Because the desire might be strong, but thinking about pumping at work, the logistics, it can feel overwhelming.
Totally. So we want to break down the important bits, offer some clarity.
And you're here to help us unpack all that, give us the bigger picture.
Happy to. It's a really important conversation to have.
So let's start even before pregnancy. I was struck by how much the resources emphasize, like the personal decision itself.
Mm-hmm. That inner commitment, to thine own self be true, as one source put it, quoting Hamlet. It's about your choice.
Making that decision and really feeling solid in it.
And building on that, being aware of things that might affect breastfeeding down the line, like previous breast surgery, mammoplasty.
Right. That came up. It doesn't automatically mean you can't breastfeed, which is crucial.
Definitely not. And there are resources, like bfar.org was mentioned, which is great.
But knowing that different surgeries can impact milk ducts or supply differently, it's just good information to have, right?
Exactly. Something to discuss with your doctor if it applies to you. Being informed early helps you prepare.
Okay, so moving into pregnancy itself. This is where the active learning really kicks in.
Yeah, preparation phase, prenatal classes, for example, super valuable.
Definitely. We know Omega Pediatrics partners with OBGYNs around Roswell, Alpharetta, Johns Creek for lactation education. That kind of practical learning can make a huge difference.
It really can. And pregnancy is also the time to start thinking about, well, work, talking to your supervisor.
Uh-huh. But your plans for breastfeeding, for pumping when you return.
And knowing your rights. That federal law about needing a private space, not a bathroom, to pump.
Super important. And maybe checking if your company has specific wellness policies for nursing mothers.
Good point. And connecting with other moms there, if you can.
Oh, yeah. Getting tips from someone who's actually done it in your workplace. That's gold.
Absolutely. Their firsthand experience, the little tricks, the support.
Yeah.
It helps.
What if the workplace isn't that supportive, though?
Well, the resources did touch on that. It's obviously not always feasible, but perhaps considering employers known to be more breastfeeding friendly might be a long-term thought for some. A tricky subject, though.
Yeah, definitely a bigger consideration. Okay, so baby arrives. Let's talk about those first few weeks. Day 0 to, say, day 21. Foundational time.
Hugely foundational. That golden hour right after birth, really significant.
Communicating to your birth team, hey, I want to nurse right away.
Yes. That immediate skin-to-skin, the first latch attempt, it helps kickstart everything. Bonding, milk production.
And then it's just frequent nursing, isn't it? Like a lot.
Oh, yeah. Around 12 times in 24 hours is pretty typical initially. Baby's getting that amazing colostrum.
That liquid gold, packed with antibodies.
Exactly. And it's usually all they need. You sometimes hear advice about needing formula right away.
Yeah. Worries about supply.
Right. But generally, unless there's a diagnosed medical reason, like hypoglycemia confirmed by a doctor, that frequent colostrum feeding is perfect. Trust the process.
And remember, help is available. Lactation consultants in the hospital.
WIC programs offer great support, too. And potentially your pediatrician, though it's worth asking about their specific lactation training. Not all have extensive expertise.
Good point. So you're nursing frequently, baby's getting colostrum, then the milk usually comes in more fully.
Typically between day 2 and 5, you'll notice that shift. More volume.
And how do you know baby's getting enough diapers?
That's a key indicator. 6 or more wet diapers a day is a good sign.
Okay. And the advice was pretty strong about holding off on bottles and pacifiers early on.
Yeah, in those first few weeks especially. The idea is to really let the baby get the hang of latching directly at the breast without potential confusion.
Makes sense. What about pumping to build a stash for later?
You can often start that around day 3. Hand expression can also be really effective for collecting colostrum in those very first days.
Got it. So moving past those initial intense weeks, say week 4 up until maternity leave ends.
Right. This is often where things start to feel a bit more settled, maybe, building confidence.
But it still takes time, right? Like 6 weeks for babies to become really efficient nursers.
Yeah, around that long, which is why having a decent amount of maternity leave is so helpful, if possible, ideally 12 weeks or even more.
It really highlights the difference compared to, say, Sweden's policies, like the sources mentioned, our shorter U.S. leaves can make establishing breastfeeding tougher.
It definitely adds pressure. So leaning on family support for other things, cooking, cleaning, can free you up to just focus on nursing and resting.
Good advice.
Mm.
And then, as leave winds down, maybe introducing a bottle.
If the baby's maybe over 3 months, yeah, that's often when parents start introducing expressed milk in a bottle or even a sippy cup.
And talking to everyone involved, family, friends, childcare providers, about your plan to continue.
Crucial. Getting everyone on the same page about supporting your breastfeeding goals when you go back to work.
Which brings us to the return to work itself. Often the biggest hurdle, it feels like.
It's a major transition, no doubt, but there are strategies.
Like exploring remote work options.
Oh,
Or maybe a phased return.
exactly. Teleworking, even part-time initially. Or maybe starting back midweek before a weekend to ease in.
I like the idea of taking a random day off midweek in those first few weeks back.
Yeah, like a Wednesday off. It breaks up the week and gives you a chance to catch up, adjust your pumping, maybe get more direct nursing in.
And if your daycare is close by, maybe quick nursing breaks.
That can be a fantastic option if feasible, or split shifts if your job allows.
What was that term? Pickup nursing.
Right, offering a feed right when you pick your baby up from daycare before you even head home. Every direct feed helps maintain supply and connection.
Okay, let's shift to tools, the essentials. A good pump seems non-negotiable.
Pretty much mission critical, yeah. A good quality double electric pump is usually recommended. Saves time, efficient.
Where do you get recommendations? Hospital, WIC.
Both are great places to start. They often know which pumps work well, sometimes have loaners, or can help with insurance coverage.
And back to that workplace space.
Yeah,
Private, not a bathroom, needs an outlet. Remember your rights.
absolutely. And if you're not getting what you're legally entitled to, you need to speak up, escalate it through HR or management.
Okay, pumping schedule. How often? How long?
The general advice is to mimic your baby's feeding pattern as much as possible. So if your baby eats every 3 hours or so, you aim to pump every 3 hours at work.
Which might mean, what, 2 or 3 sessions during a typical work day?
Usually, yeah, for maybe 10 to 15 minutes per session, pumping both sides.
And you adjust that as the baby gets older and feeding patterns change?
Exactly. It syncs up with their needs.
But it does mean your workday might stretch a bit,
Right.
accounting for those breaks.
It can, yeah. That's where communication with your supervisor about managing your time is important.
Makes sense.
Huh.
All right, last big piece. Storing that precious milk safely.
Super important. Okay, so in the fridge, use it within about 2 days. Keep it cold, like 32, 39 Fahrenheit.
And for freezing.
If you have a freezer with its own separate door, it can last about 3 months at 0 degrees Fahrenheit or colder.
And once you thawed?
Keep it in the fridge and use it within 24 hours. Don't refreeze.
And always label everything clearly. Date, time.
Yes. And store it in the regular food fridge at work, not a medical specimen fridge, obviously.
Okay, wow. We covered a lot.
We did. But the main takeaway, I think, is that yes, it takes effort, but breastfeeding as a working mom is absolutely achievable.
With preparation, support, and knowing this kind of information, right?
Exactly. Preparation, knowing your rights, having the right tools, communicating.
Yeah.
It all adds up.
There will be bumps, challenges for sure, but focusing on these strategies really can lead to success.
Definitely.
And for everyone listening, if you want even more details, loads of resources on breastfeeding, child health, everything pediatric, please do visit omegapediatrics.com.
It's a fantastic resource. And hey, if this chat was helpful, please give the video a like.
Yes, and subscribe to the channel for more conversations like this.
And share it. Share it with anyone you know who's expecting or navigating this journey.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Okay, final thought to leave you with. What's one small, concrete step you can take today to support your own working while breastfeeding plan? Or maybe support someone else's?
Could be anything. Researching pumps, talking to your partner, finding a support group contact.
Just one small action. Take that step. Thank you so much for joining us on Have More Babies. Until next time.
Bye, everyone.